ready, my soul. I'm diving in, get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here, to the present moment here, to a new beginning here, and I'm seeing life so clearly now. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in, get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul.
Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in Southeast Louisiana. I'm Reverend Larrye-Marie Heil, the spiritual director here, and we are a group of radically inclusive spiritual renegades, healing hearts and creating community, and each embracing spiritual conscious living, inviting everyone to live in enthusiastic expectancy of their good, of their abundance. And today we're continuing our series on life, love, and the pursuit of happiness, according to the boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse. And we are blessed that Reverend Catherine Bonin, the happiness minister, is providing the message for us and showing us her unique insights into vulnerability. Reverend Catherine's stories and message are quite profound. So stay with us as you learn to be vulnerable. And as you learn that vulnerability is not a weakness to be avoided, but a strength to be embraced. It's the courage to expose our true lives, our true selves, our fears, and our insecurities to the world. Let's begin with prayer. We just take a deep, nourishing breath. We know that divine that is love, joy, peace, ease, comfort. The divine that we see when we look out into nature, when we look at all the beautiful trees, when we look at all the springtime that is blossoming around us. That divine presence, that infinite intelligence that is right here, right now. The source of everything. The essence of God is joy and love, and that is the raw material that each of us are made of. And that presence is all that we are, all that we can choose to be. And what I know is that God is flowing in through and as each of us right here and right now. And we are here by divine appointment to hear something in the message, the music, a poem, or all of the above, the reading, to remember that we can choose today to be vulnerable and truly present all of and truly present all of who we are to the world. So it's with great gratitude that I know and remember this truth. The God without is the God within each of us. So from that gratitude, I just release my word into the law of mind, spirit, and action, knowing that it manifests for my highest good and the good of everyone. So I release this into that yes, where it's already done. So knowing that, I say amen, and we can affirm it together. And so it is. And when we're courageous enough to be who we are, to expose the truth of who we are to the world, we recognize how fortunate we are.
Good morning, Southeast Louisiana Center for Spiritual Living. I love you all. This is Lynn Floyd with you again this morning. I hope you'll sing this song with me. It says, to be confident that the infinite will take care of it. We're so fortunate. In this world that we live in right now, when it seems like it's so crazy, this is a nice thing to hang on to, for me anyway. Sing it with me. It goes like this. To be confident that the infinite will take care of it. We're so fortunate to be confident that the infinite will take care of it. We're so fortunate, sing it again, to be confident that the infinite will take care of it. We're so fortunate to be confident that the infinite will take care of it. We're so fortunate. Then I'll sing the verse that goes like this. God is the boat, and God is the boatman. It's by God's grace we're gonna cross this earthly ocean. Learn our lessons from the sun. It shines equally on everyone. But when the sun don't shine, we learn it from the rain. It falls equally on everyone the same. To be confident that the infinite will take care of it. We're so fortunate to be confident that the infinite will take care of it. We're so fortunate. Oh, God is the boat, and God is the boatman. It's by God's grace we're gonna cross this earthly ocean. We learn our lessons from the sun. Shines equally on everyone. But when the sun don't shine, we learn it from the rain. It falls equally on everyone the same. To be confident that the infinite will take care of it. We're so fortunate, sing it with me, to be confident that the infinite will take care of it. We're so fortunate, again, to be confident that the infinite will take care of it. We're so fortunate, one more time, to be confident that the infinite will take care of it. We're so fortunate.
So this is our time for celebration and healing. Our time in our service where we celebrate life and we pray for people who desire prayer. We begin with celebration, so I invite you to say aloud, so that the whole universe can hear it, any event in your life for which you're grateful and joyful this week. And now we turn to the healing portion of our service. We're a community steeped in healing. So we pause now to pray for anyone who's not feeling the joy of life that we perhaps were just feeling. They're not feeling maybe that they have things to celebrate. And I truly love this part of our service because it's so in alignment with who we are. So let's pray. God is all there is. God is that love and that peace and ease and grace and freedom and so much more. And as an individual expression of the divine, each of us have within us all of these qualities of spirit. They're available to us right here and right now. And what I know to be the truth is that there are people on this planet right now that aren't embracing those qualities. So we stop for a moment and we create a circle of love. And in this community, we place in that circle of love anyone that we recognize within ourselves or for someone else that might need prayer. So I'm going to pause and I just invite you to say aloud the names of all of those people that you want to include in our circle of love. I know that God is right where each of us happens to be, right here and right now, moving in, through, and as each of us. And I know that the divine has heard every name that we spoke, either in our hearts or aloud. And what I'd like you to do now is pause again, and from your heart to all of theirs, just send out love, knowing that the divine knows exactly how to distribute it. And what I know to be the truth is that anything that needs to be released within each of these people is being released now, be it disease of the mind, of the body, of the soul. I know that anything that's seeking to come forth and be lifted up can be lifted up. And that this release and this lifting up is healing whatever's called to be healed. I know that each of these people is feeling more deeply their connection with the divine right now. I have evidence of that, and I know it to be the truth for everyone that we place in our circle. So I'm so grateful to know that the God without is the God within me. The God without is the God within every person in our circle, every person in this community, and every person on this planet. And I'm grateful for that power of community prayer and what it means to the uplifting of the people on this planet. So it's from all that gratitude that I release this prayer into the law of mind, spirit, and action. Because I know that the divine, in all of its wisdom, has already called all of this good. Any heavy lifting that needs to be done to heal whatever needs to be healed, the divine has already taken care of. So I can just know it's already done, say amen, and together we can affirm it. And so it is. I invite you to join me for our community affirmation. My life's purpose is already within me, and I am committed to its unfoldment. I am here by divine appointment to join in a community that cares for one another, to be in a place that transforms people's lives, to remember the highest truth about myself, to learn spiritual tools for personal transformation, and thus to make the world a more joyful place. So this is our time for meditation, a time that we set aside the past, we forget about the future, and we just move into this moment right here and right now. We just allow ourselves to have some time where the divine can speak to us. So as Karen begins to play, allow yourself to go into that time with the divine, to know that you need not push or pull. You can just relax into breathing and listening, trusting that your heart hears the message.
So here's our meditation song this morning off my brand new album, actually, written with wonderful singer-songwriter Jan Garrett. So I invite you to just take a deep breath and sing with me these words. No push, no pull. I am empty and full. I breathe and receive and listen. No push, no pull. I am empty and full. breathe and receive and listen. That's the whole thing right there. Again, no push, no pull. I am empty and full. I breathe and receive and listen and listen, listen, listen. Do it again. No push, no pull. I am empty and full. I breathe and receive and listen, listen, listen. Say it again. No push, no pull, empty. I am empty and full. I breathe and receive and listen, listen, listen. Listen to your heart now. All right, let me teach you another verse here. No, I trust. Let go. I surrender and know. My heart is open to listen. Let's do that one again. I trust, let go. I trust, let go, surrender and know. I surrender and know. My heart is open. My heart is open to listen, to listen. All right, let's go back to the beginning part. No push, no pull. No push, no pull. I am empty and full. I breathe and receive and listen. Just that line. Listen. I listen. I listen. listen, I listen, I listen.
My name is Gloria Nye, and our reading today is from the January 28th, 365 Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. It begins with a verse from 1 John 4:12. If we love one another, God dwelleth in us, and his love is perfected in us. Every heart responds to the warmth of love. Every mind yearns for its embrace, and no life is complete without it. Love really is the fulfillment of the law of good. Love alone can heal the world and enable people to live together in unity and in peace. Believing that love is the great lodestone of life and that love alone fulfills the law of good, quietly I say to myself, I believe that God is love. I believe that love is at the center of everything. Therefore, I accept love as the healing power of life. I permit love to reach out from me to every person I meet. I believe that love is returned to me from every person I meet. I trust the guidance of love because I believe it is the power of good in the universe. I feel that love is flowing through me to heal every situation I meet, to help every person I contact. Love opens the way before me and makes it perfect, straight, and glad. Love forgives everything unlike itself. It purifies everything. Love converts everything that seems commonplace into that which is wonderful. Love converts weakness into strength, fear into faith. Love is the all-conquering power of spirit. As a child walks in confidence with its parents, so I walk in confidence with life. As a child, through love, trusts its parents, so I put my whole trust in love, which I feel to be everywhere present, within, around, and through me, within, around, and through all people. In that love, I am safe, secure, and cared for.
This song is a great introduction to the message. For somewhere in each of our lives, we would like to embrace vulnerability and just lay down all that we are, knowing we're accepted just as we are. Enjoy Gary and sing along as he sings Unbound.
I look forward to that time when we can come back and visit you in real life. Until then, we'll just have to do it by Zoom and just know that my heart is there with you. Open your mind. Unfold your heart. Relax your senses, yeah, and feel every part. You ain't got a thing to fear. Looks like love is growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Yeah. Unbound. Breathe every breath. Yeah. Release your cringe. Love without waiting, slowly unhinge, yeah. You ain't got a thing to fear. Looks like love is growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Yeah. unbound. You can stop waiting for love to find you. Look inside your heart. Love's already who you are. It's already who we are. So lift up your voice. Lift it up now, now. Let it be heard. Let it be heard. And tell me your story. Tell it to me. And don't leave out a word. Not a word, no. 'Cause I think I have been there too. I'm a seeker just like you. You ain't got a thing to fear. Looks like love is growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Unbound. Lay it all down, down, down. Lay it all down. Open your mind and unfold your heart. Love you.
I'd like to thank our reader this week for the wonderful job. It's great to have different readers every week and people that are so engaging as they read our little message before our talk. And I want to thank Lynn Floyd, Karen Drucker, and our CSL music team for our beautiful music today. Today, we're continuing our series on life, love, and the pursuit of happiness, according to the boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse. And we're exploring vulnerability. This is only week 3 of our journey. So, like the boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse, allow yourself some time to discover who you are, what has meaning to you, where you can truly find that home and feel so secure that you're willing to be your true self. Each week is independent, and you always walk away with some tools to dive deeper into understanding your life and what brings you joy. So, as we continue on our wonderful 2023 spiritual journey and explore vulnerability this week, before I turn it over to Reverend Catherine, here's your affirmation. What is the one choice you might make today to know yourself, to share who you really are with others, and to trust yourself, others, and the divine as you stay true to the spiritual principles that guide your life? One more time. What's the one choice you might make today to know yourself, to share who you really are with others, and to trust yourself, others, and the divine as you stay true to the spiritual principles that guide your life? Enjoy Reverend Catherine's message.
Hello, my friends, and good morning. What a joy it is to spend some time with you this morning. I get the privilege of talking to you today about vulnerability and how this sweet little book, packed with so much, reminds us of the power and the possibility behind vulnerability. Letting ourselves be vulnerable means that we have to know ourselves and we have to be willing to be real, to be courageous enough to get out there on the skinny branches and share who we are with others, and also have a certain level of trust. We need to trust in ourselves and trust in God and trust in the spiritual principles that guide our lives. It's interesting that vulnerability empowers us. Let's unpack that just a little. When we're vulnerable, we're embracing who we are, both the fear we might feel and the love that we have for ourselves and for others. It lets us step into all the areas of our life with authenticity and with integrity. And living that way paves the way for us to live our best life. On this page, the boy looks out and asks the mole, "What's over there?" And the mole says, "It's the wild. Don't fear it." This simple conversation depicts so beautifully exactly what we all go through. The boy's afraid, and he's afraid of what is unknown. We can all relate to that, right? And on this next page, the mole asks the boy, "Imagine how we would be if we were less afraid." And here he's reminding us to be brave and to trust. That means leaning on what we already know, that God's got us, that things always come together in divine right order, and that when we give God the reins, it always works out. So let's talk about being real, accepting and loving ourselves just the way we are. I like to say warts and all. And this is a big aspect of allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, right? We all have things about ourselves that we're not so proud of. Being honest about who we are and who we're not is the road to acceptance. Whenever I think about being real and being authentic, I always think about the Velveteen Rabbit and the scene where the rabbit asks, "What's real? Does it mean having things that buzz inside you and a stick-out handle?" "Real isn't how you're made," said the skin horse. "It's a thing that happens to you when a child loves you for a long, long time, not just to play with, but really loves you, then you become real." "Does it hurt?" asked the rabbit. "Sometimes," said the skin horse, for he was always truthful. "When you're real, you don't mind being hurt." "Does it happen all at once, like being wound up?" he asked, "or does it happen bit by bit?" "It doesn't happen all at once," said the skin horse. "You become. It takes a long time. And that's why it doesn't often happen to people who break easily or have sharp edges or who have to be carefully kept. Generally, by the time you're real, most of your hair's been loved off, your eyes drop out, and you get loose in the joints and very shabby. But these things don't matter at all, because once you're real, you can't be ugly, except to people who don't understand. Life is hard sometimes, right? We all have our challenges. We all have hair rubbed off and our joints are loose and that kind of thing. We're all on our own journey, and none of them are the same. But we can all relate to life being tough sometimes, and how wonderful it is to know that we're loved just the same. Here, the horse is acknowledging the boy by saying, "Life is difficult, but you are loved." And in response, the boy says, "So you know all about me and you still love me?" "We love you all the more," the horse says. Isn't this true about life? Isn't this true about the people that you love the most? We can't and won't let people see us until we can love and accept ourselves just the way we are, warts and all. In the book Real Love, Greg Bayer tells a story that talks about this. Once upon a time, there was a rich and beautiful kingdom that stretched beyond the horizon in all directions. But the prince of that kingdom was very, very unhappy. He had warts all over his face, and everywhere he went, people teased him and laughed at him. So he mostly stayed in his room, alone and miserable. When he did go out, he went out with a bag over his head so no one would see the warts. Well, when his father died, the prince obviously became king, and he issued a decree that no one, on pain of death, would ever laugh at his warts again. But he stayed in the room, shamed and alone, very rarely went out. And when he did go out, he put that bag over his head. The bag covered his warts and made it difficult for him to see. Well, after many years, the king heard about a wise man who lived up on top of a high mountain. Hoping that the wise man could help him, the king climbed the mountain and found the old man sitting under a tree. The king took the bag off his head and said, I have come for your help. Well, the wise man looked at him for a few minutes and then said, you have warts on your face. Well, the king was furious. That's not what he had come to hear. No, I don't, he screamed. Ashamed and angry, the king put the bag back over his head. Yes, you do, the wise man said gently. Stop, I'll have you killed, shouted the king. Well, call your guards then, said the wise man. My guards aren't here, shrieked the king. I climbed all the way up this mountain to get your help, and now you tell me I have warts on my face? How cruel you are. Well, the wise man chuckled a little and he said, I'm telling you the truth. You have warts on your face. That's all, just the truth. Well, angry and frustrated, the king ran away from the wise man, kept falling down because he couldn't see very well with the bag on his head. Finally, he fell down a slope and rolled into a lake. And there he began to drown. Well, the wise man saw this and ran down the hill, jumped in the lake, and pulled the king to shore. Then he took the bag off the king's head so that he could breathe. The king was horrified when he saw the wise man staring at him. You're laughing at me, he said. No, I'm not, said the wise man. And the king looked down at the ground and said, boys in the village used to always laugh at me. And the wise man said, well, I'm not one of the boys in the village. That must have been tough on you, being laughed at all the time. Yes, it was, said the king. Well, as you can see, I am not laughing at you, said the wise man. And somehow this did feel different to the king. And as the king looked into the lake and saw his reflection, he said, you know, I really do have a lot of warts. I know, said the wise man. And you don't find them disgusting, asked the king. No, not at all, said the wise man, and I don't find my warts disgusting either. And for the first time, the king noticed that the wise man had warts on his face as well. Why don't you wear a bag over your head? The king asked. Well, I used to, said the wise man, but with the bag on my head, I couldn't see. I kept falling down, and I was very, very lonely, so I took it off. Didn't people laugh at you? Asked the king. Oh, sure, some of them did, the wise man said, and I hated that, just like you do. Gradually, I found my people who didn't laugh, and people who made me happy. Well, the king was thrilled to hear this. No one had ever looked at his warts without laughing at him or showing their disgust. I think I won't wear the bag when you're around, said the king. And the wise man smiled and said, I think that's a great idea. In fact, when you go home, you could just leave the bag here. And then the king wondered aloud, will I find other people like you, people who won't think I'm disgusting? The wise man laughed. Of course you will. There are people who are going to love you just for who you are. And with the love of those people, you won't care what other people think. Well, the king dropped the bag on the ground and went back to his kingdom. And it was far more beautiful without the bag on his head. And he did find people there who loved him and didn't mind his warts at all. He was very happy. Like the wart king, we've all learned to hide those things we think are flaws, things that make us feel broken, things that we think make us less than perfect. We've come to believe that people express their affection far less when they see those things, so we try to hide them. And that enables us to avoid criticism, so we think, but it also makes it impossible for people to see who we are. Hiding under the bags we've put on our heads might help us feel safer for a short period of time, but it also makes us feel alone. And that's the worst condition of all, don't you think? And more importantly, we're not being real. We're not being honest. See, loving and accepting ourselves in a genuine way means letting go of the need for approval from somebody out there. Truly loving ourselves is a process. It's a practice, and it means accepting, appreciating, and celebrating who we are, warts and all. Being real and authentic is not about becoming something different. It's about learning to let go of those old thoughts and beliefs and attitudes that prevent us from standing in our own power. And by taking this up as a spiritual practice, we can develop the courage to be vulnerable. In The Hidden Power of the Bible on page 94, my friend Ernie says, we are to look for God in ourselves and in each other and love this God, forgetting all else. That means we see the God, the good, the beauty, the wonderful, the love, the joy, the wisdom, the gift in every person, and not those things that seem to be less than perfect, because they are perfect already. See, being vulnerable starts with accepting this about ourselves. In Science of Mind, it's one of the primary principles is that we are spiritual beings, that we're made in the image and likeness of the thing itself. We're made in the image and likeness of God. Inherent in that is our worth. We're perfect already because our very life is the life of God. It can't be anything other than perfect. There's nothing lacking in us. There was nothing lacking in us when God created us and declared all creation good. There was nothing lacking in us when we were born on this physical plane, and there's nothing lacking in us now. If we can look at ourselves this way, we're more able to open up to others. We're more able to be vulnerable and therefore have a richer, more meaningful experience of life. In this thing called You on page 57, Ernie says, the divine pattern would be imperfect without you. Dare to be yourself. Stand in wonder before the majesty and the might, the beauty and the power of that divine presence, which speaks expression through your individual life. See, we can't be vulnerable unless we have courage. And courage is a sign of strength, not weakness. Most of us live in a box, and it's a box that we've built ourselves with our experiences, our beliefs, and our values. Every time we bump into one of the sides of that box, we retreat. We call that box our comfort zone. Being vulnerable means doing anything outside the perimeter of that box. Jumping out of an airplane, getting up on stage and speaking or singing, quitting your job, anything that's a risk. See, those things are scary because they create situations where we might not be in total control of the outcome. We might not be sure that we'll land on our feet. So there is a level of risk. All too often, we don't go there. But going there, getting out there on those skinny branches, will expedite our growth. And pretty soon we'll realize that we don't feel as vulnerable speaking our truth and saying those things and doing those things that reveal who we are. See, the goal is for you to be you and to use that you-ness to inspire others to be themselves as well. Being vulnerable by definition is scary. It's making a choice to expose your psyche. And oddly enough, this is truly the best thing that you can do because you're walking around all the time trying to defend it anyway. I could be wrong, but I think that the pain of letting go for most of us is far less than the pain of holding on. It's our little minds that convince us differently. I'm not anywhere near perfect. My pained psyche sometimes gets the better of me, and I struggle just as much as anyone. I'm just trying to pay more attention, to take more risks, and to have the courage to let myself be seen. The struggle is consistent. Sometimes it hurts, but just remember, every confrontation with discomfort, every dive into vulnerability is one step closer to the freedom that lives on the other side. Let me say that again. Every confrontation with discomfort, every dive into vulnerability is one step closer to the freedom that exists on the other side. In Atlas of the Heart, Brene Brown says, vulnerability sounds like truth and feels like courage. Truth and courage aren't always comfortable, but they're never weakness. Nietzsche says, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. And Kelly Clarkson wrote a #1 hit song that says the same thing. Not only do those things make us stronger, but they add sweetness and meaning to this thing called life. In his book, Journey to Awakening, Mark Nepo says, the sweetness of living comes to us when the very humanness we regret and try to hide, our seeming flaws and shameful secrets, are worked by time and nature into a honey all their own. Isn't that beautiful? It's really about transformation. And speaking of transformation, I recently became interested in kintsugi. And this is a Japanese art form that means gold joining. It involves repairing things that are broken and making them more meaningful. Things like cups and bowls and plates and vases, and then putting them back together, gold. The traditional method of kintsugi takes days, weeks, even months to complete just one piece, and they sell for thousands and thousands of dollars. There are a lot of steps and there's a lot of time waiting because things take time. Putting things together, putting things back together sometimes takes time. And traditional kintsugi takes time, a lot of time. They say it takes as long as it takes. What a beautiful message, huh? The metaphors in this craft are incredible. They're profound and powerful. Because healing takes time, growing takes time. Things take as long as they take. This photo on the left is the traditional piece of kintsugi art. The pieces on your right are some of my hack creations. Back to those metaphors though, you know, sometimes we all feel broken. That's when we need to be vulnerable. In kintsugi, gold is used to mend the broken pieces because gold is not only beautiful, but it's strong and valuable and precious. It's used as a glue, another great metaphor, because glue holds things together. So I ask you, where in your life do you feel broken? And what's the glue in your life? For me and for many of you, I suspect, the glue is the spiritual practice. It's knowing and loving ourselves. It's being willing to be vulnerable, willing to be real, and to show people who we are by leaning into trust. What if healing the brokenness was really about seeing the value in what comes out of an experience, letting go of what was and embracing what is, and seeing the blessings in those difficulties, seeing the beauty in the recreated piece? What if we could know that everything in life adds to our experience? Nothing takes it away. That our value could never be diminished. What if we knew that what's here now, regardless of how it might look, is a blessing, making life richer and more valuable, even more precious? When we started this journey a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the conversation the boy and the mole had about following the river, doing the next indicated thing and trusting that God's got this. Well, at the very end of the book, the horse tells us, just take this step. The horizon will take care of itself. What a beautiful, beautiful message, because this is about leaning into trust and just doing the next thing. In the Science of Mind textbook, Ernie tells us, when we learn to trust the universe, we shall be happy, prosperous, and well. No matter what our emotional storm or objective situation may be, we may stumble, but always there is that eternal voice, forever whispering in our ear, the thing which causes the eternal quest, that thing which forever sings and sings. See, we can take this thing called life to the next step if we trust. So I want to close by telling you about Elizabeth Elliot. She was the wife of Jim Elliot, who was a missionary who was speared to death by members of the Huaorani tribe in Ecuador in 1956. In the Christian community, he's seen as a martyr, having died in his quest to bring Jesus to the people there. But this story isn't about him. It's about his wife, Elizabeth. You see, when he died, she was just 30 and she had a 10-month-old baby girl. Like most of us, when tragedy or something big and unexpected happens, we freeze. We get stuck. We don't know what to do, and the world seems overwhelming, so we don't do anything. Like the boy in our story, we get lost for a while. Well, Elizabeth came upon an ancient poem, and she took its message to heart. In fact, she made it her purpose to share this idea of doing the next thing. And she shares this poem so many times in her life that it's often attributed to her. Here are just a few stanzas of the poem. From an old English parsonage down by the sea, there came in the twilight a message to me. Its quaint Saxon legend, deeply engraven, hath, it seemed to me, teaching from heaven. And on through the doors the quiet words ring, like a low inspiration, do the next thing. Many a questioning, many a fear, many a doubt hath its quieting here. Moment by moment, let down from heaven, time, opportunity, and guidance are given. Fear not tomorrows, child of the King. Trust them with Jesus. Do the next thing. Do it immediately. Do it with prayer. Do it reliantly, casting all care. Do it with reverence, tracing his hand, who placed it before thee with earnest command. Stayed on omnipotence, safe neath his wing. Leave all results, just do the next thing. In Science of Mind, we say, treat and move your feet. That means pray. And I'd add, meditate, get quiet, listen, and then do the next thing. So my challenge to you this week is to pay attention, really pay attention. Notice when you're feeling tender, when you're feeling vulnerable. Notice the feelings of discomfort, because that's a call for healing and a call to go within. Notice them and embrace them. Appreciate those warts because they add to who you are and how you show up. Stretch beyond your comfort zone. Be courageous. Allow yourself to be seen. Trust spirit within. And then listen to that small voice. Let it direct you so that you can do just the next thing. Follow the river, my friends. It'll always take you home.
Wow. Reverend Catherine never disappoints, does she? Such beautiful stories and quotes. And I'll post a copy of that poem for you to grab from our website so you can remember to be vulnerable this week. Let's pray. Just taking a deep, nourishing breath and recognizing the presence of spirit that is right here. That love and joy and freedom and courage, that creativity of life, that vulnerability, the presence of infinite intelligence and profound love, that inner guide that's ready to show us the exact way home, ready to still in each of us the courage to choose to be vulnerable and let all our warts show. The spirit in me is flowing through, in, and as me, as it is in each person that is listening to this message, each person on this planet. I live in this present moment, aware of all my life and the many ways that I can choose to be open and live my life fully as me, sharing who I really am with others, trusting myself and others and the divine, and staying true to those spiritual principles that guide my life. And as I know this to be true for myself, I know it to be true of everyone watching this service. I'm happy and so grateful to know and remember that I can choose how I want my life to be in each and every moment, and learn to be gentle with myself when I come up short. So it's from this gratitude that I release my word into the law of mind, spirit, and action, into that divine yes, knowing that I have no need to effort because the divine has already called it good. So I release it, I let it be, I say amen, and let's affirm it together. And so it is. And I want to continue to thank everybody that supports us from week to week. It allows us to have special musicians, that allows us to have guest speakers. Thank you very, very much for all of your support. Have a great week and enjoy our offertory song.
From the love of your spirit within me, I bless this gift. I send it forth to heal, bless, and prosper. It does good work in the world and returns to me, multiplied abundantly. From the love of your spirit within me, I bless this gift. I send it forth to heal, bless, and prosper. It does good work in the world and returns to me, multiplied abundantly. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is.
You can find all of the information for donating at our website at CSL SoutheastLA.org. You can use the donate button there, or you can use Zella or Venmo at 225-287-8887. You can text your amount to 1-225-320-5100, or you can mail your donation to CSL Southeast Louisiana, care of Reverend Larrye-Marie Heil, 445 Magnolia Wood Avenue, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 70808. We thank you for your tithes and donations, and we appreciate the fact that you are giving gifts that are flowing out to everyone we touch. This song by our music team is a nice conclusion to the message because it reminds us that when we're vulnerable, we surrender to love. Sing along as they sing. Give yourself to love.
Kind friends all gather round. There's something I would say, that what brings us together here has blessed us all today. Love has made a circle that holds us all inside, where strangers are family and loneliness can hide. You must give yourself to love, if love is what you're after. Open up your heart to the tears and laughter, and give yourself to love. Give yourself to love.
I've walked these mountains in the rain. I've learned to love the wind, and I've been up before the sunrise to watch the day begin. I always knew I'd find you, though I never did know how. And like sunshine on a cloudy day, stand before me now. You must give yourself to love. If love is what you're after, and open up your heart to the tears and laughter. Give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. Love is born in fire. It's planted like a seed. Love can give you everything, but it gives you what you need. And love comes when you're ready. Love comes when you're afraid. It'll be your greatest teacher, the best friend you have made. You must give yourself to love. Love is what you're after. Open up your heart to the tears and laughter. Give yourself to love. Give yourself to love.
Next week, I'll be back doing the message again as we continue our series with the topic bravery. It's a virtue that resides within each of us, waiting to be awakened and nurtured. So I hope you'll join us next week as we discover how to be more brave in our lives as we journey home. Thank you for joining us today. I invite you to like us on Facebook at Center for Spiritual Living, Southeast Louisiana. And please follow us on our YouTube channel at CSL SELA. And it's just about time to join in our community time, which is a live discussion that follows the service every Sunday at 11:45 a.m. You have a little bit of time to go get a cup of coffee or some tea, and then dial into our conference line. The number is 540-792-0192, and the participation code is 475220. We hope you'll join us. So in closing, remember, Disney claims to be the happiest place on earth, but we at the Center for Spiritual Living in Southeast Louisiana know that we are definitely the most joyful. I hope you enjoyed Reverend Catherine's message as much as I did today. And until we meet again, may you be wrapped in the arms of love and kindness. And may you remember to know yourself, to share who you really are with others, to trust yourself, others, and the divine, and to stay true to those spiritual principles that guide your life. For what I know is when we step fully into acting from that place within us that chooses to be vulnerable and exposes our true nature, our true fears, our true selves, when we expose our insecurities to the world and we find out that there is so much love surrounding us, I know that we feel very much alive.
Alive, alive, alive forevermore. My spirit is alive, alive forevermore. Alive, alive, alive forevermore. My spirit is alive. Sing hallelujah, sing hallelujah. My spirit is alive forevermore. Sing hallelujah, sing hallelujah. My spirit is alive. Alive, alive, alive forevermore. My spirit is alive, alive forevermore. Alive, alive, alive forevermore. My spirit is alive. Sing hallelujah, sing hallelujah.